Hey everybody, my name is Malev. Welcome to Viewer HQ. I'm going to be showing you today how I paint the Blacksmith from the game 1492. In miniature painting, it's most common to paint from the inside out. And generally what that means is that you'll paint the stuff that's further inside the model before you'll paint stuff that's on the outside so that you can avoid having to paint over areas later. And this guy's got a couple of big features on him. He's got this huge forge apron which straps around his back and it straps around his legs. That's one big component. He's got this undershirt, got some pants. He's got his bare arms, his two hammers, and of course his welded together cauldrons, which is allowing him to breathe the air in 1492 while he does his thing. So I think what we'll do first is probably paint the skin, as the skin is going to be a really dominant feature of this particular character, because most of the characters have stuff that is covering their bodies, armor or something of that nature, but this guy's, he's got the guns out, so I think we'll focus on those. So here, let's talk about the palette now. We have a coal black, a blue black, yellow ochre, a bold pyro red, titanium white, and a silver. And this palette is super close to what is popularized as called the Zorn palette. Palette that's pretty popular in the grimdark scene when it comes to miniature painting, because it is the palette that is most used by John Blanche. He's a seminal figure in the space when it comes to art direction and style. So I sort of went with that to lean into what this game is about. But since everything is coming from just these 5 paints, ultimately we have to mix what we want. So this guy I actually want to make and have more of a darker skin tone to make him stand out a little bit. So in order to do that, I'm going to take a little bit of red, a little bit of black, and a little bit of yellow. And we're going to mix our skin tone. And you have to kind of have your head around what is going to happen when you mix 2 paints together. Once you have them mixed, you have a lot of freedom, because with the underpainting style, having the yellow be our light, so to speak, and having it shine from only one position. And then on the other side, you have this is where all the blue black is affecting. So we have a shadow, and then we have a light source coming from the front here. Having these tones, this yellow here, these reds down here, these blues back here, can inform how we are going to be mixing our paint. Now I will start laying down this paint right here. This will be our first layer. We do want it to be thin. We do want to have a semi-transparent finish when the paint dries here. But the strength of this approach is that when you are painting stuff towards the back in this shadowy side, then what you're going to be mixing in is blue black. But when you're painting stuff towards the front, we'll be using yellow and red to complement the underpainting here. And for the skin parts on the model, the guy's arms, his very strong, capable arms, and then he's got his little fingers that are creeping out from under his gloves, and his little thumb. So those are the only spots that we really need to focus on, and these are really tiny. So when it comes to painting the skin on this model in particular, definitely gonna have an okay time. Very straightforward. And now let's make our new colors, such as for his shirt here. In his shirt, I want it to be like a light material, something maybe like a white or tan. So in order to make the shirt, we're gonna use some white. We'll put a tiny bit of yellow. Let's put a little bit of black, and put a little bit of blue as well. And this will be the beginning of our white. One of the key things about this approach is that we're going to be covering up lots of the base tones, the reds and yellows and whatnot. But importantly, just leaving it where we can, leaving it in the cracks and crevices, leaving it between areas will give us that really subtle red undertone that is kind of prominent on all the figures, to kind of lean into the red tones of the book's design. All right, and then we've got our little base white here. Let's get this whole big old apron sorted out. Now to do that, I am thinking of a very dark brown. So let's put some black. We'll get some red. Hold on. Maybe just a tiny bit of white. Yeah, a little tiny bit of yellow as well. So we get a dark kind of, not necessarily chocolatey looking, but pretty chocolatey looking. And that, I believe that mixture is the same mixture as the skin, but just in very different quantities. So now we've got this huge apron to go over and his little glovies. This is where we want to be, not necessarily be cautious, but we want to be cognizant of our painting at this point, to try and leave some of this underpainting strategically to give us the effect that we want. So pants, I'm gonna make just a good old gray, I think. I'll do that by mixing up. Just throw it down really loosely. All right, got the gray. With the handles, you might want to introduce a slight little bit of a green tone, because that's the tone that's missing from this palette, is the green. But you can make one. You don't want it to read super green, it's just green enough. A green can read like a brown. Our final little base coat thing will be to take silver. We'll mix in red, we'll mix in yellow, make it quite pretty. And then towards the front here, we will use this more yellowy mix. And then as we get to the back, we'll introduce blue. Now, I think we'll just go through and kind of repeat the same steps that we did, but just now each section that we interact with, we are going to paint into completion. Return it to my skin mix here, but now we are going to start highlighting, making things look nice. Then once started brightening, go through the skin and establish like that value. Yeah, what's the brightest point? What's the darkest point? Let's move on to the next largest thing here, which would be our big apron. There's our apron mix over here. Just mix in a little bit of the yellow. Because of this large surface, a lot of this is where you're going to get your painterly expression on it, because there is a lot of surface to play with here. And I'll just be going over very gently over the top parts with that stuff, kind of slowly introducing new paint in gradual layers. And as things dry, we can slowly start to see this texture kind of coming in. All right, I think it's about, yeah, let's I'm gonna put just a little bit more red up too. And I think we just good. I mean, snap. This guy he's ready to look on the horizon and see nothing but doom. It's like, damn, it's doomy out there.